A very warm welcome to the news desk this afternoon. You're watching KTN. My name is Leangari and my sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti. Today is a very prolific day. We have the State of the Nation address that is to be delivered by the President William Ruto, who heads to Parliament this afternoon for his State of the Nation address, and this amid mounting pressure over economic performance, revenue collection gaps, debt payment challenges, and a growing questions rather on the credibility of his bottom-up transformation agenda. We will be bringing you more details on this coverage, and right now I want us to go to the Parliament buildings and catch on with Daniel Karaoke, who is stationed there to bring us more details on the events there. Daniel, if you can hear me, could you please tell us what is happening in Parliament currently?
Right, thank you very much, Leah. You've put it right that we are here at the Parliament buildings, of course, expecting the presidential address on the State of the Nation that is going to be happening from 2:30. The president expected at around 3 p.m. And of course, I want just to engage some of the members of Parliament that we are having here to have a feel of what we expected this afternoon. I'm having Makali Muli, thank you very much for joining us. Amina Kibwana, thank you very much, and Mboko Milemba, who are going to be telling us what they expect. And I'm going to start with you, Mheshimiwa. Definitely the third State of the Nation address. What are you looking forward to? The president expected to explain to Kenyans through the House on what he has managed to achieve the last 1 year.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this being a constitutional requirement, the president will be talking to us, and my expectation is that he will be telling Kenyans what he has managed to do, specifically this year. But for me, I would want to look at what he has done for the last 3 years. And that will be informed by the manifesto, the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. But as a minority leader in the House, because I am on the minority side, I have some expectation from the presidential speech. Kenyans are facing serious challenges on a number of issues. I would want to hear what strategies the government has in terms of addressing the following issues. The first issue, statistics show that the economy is doing well, but when you talk to Kenyans out there, they still complain that the cost of living is still an issue. So I would want to hear from the government side, what is the president doing as the leader of the government to make sure that Kenyans' matters cost of living are addressed. The second issue which Kenyans are complaining about is the issue of the education sector, where we are facing serious challenges, matters capitation, matters JSS in dance, and matters university level. So we would want to hear as Kenyans, how do we stabilize our education sector so that as we move to the future, we are more predictable in terms of what do we get out of that sector. Right. The third sector is the health sector. Matters health sector is also a challenge. SHA is being reported to be working. But when you talk to the majority of Kenyans, there is still a problem. And I'm sure the president is aware of these problems because he's a consumer of low intelligence. So I would want to hear, what is this government proposing to do? The other issue which is critical is public debt. Right. The issue of public debt is becoming an issue. And it is an issue, unless addressed by the government, is likely to push this country to very bad levels, matters economics. So I would also want to hear, what is the president planning matters public debt? The last one, which is critical,
right? Governance
and corruption. This is a matter which is ailing this country, is a matter which is likely to have serious consequences in terms of the way we conduct our business as a country. I would want to hear, not the stories you have been hearing in the past, what specific measures is he going to use to ensure that these matters are addressed?
Let me bring in Mheshimiwa Hamina. Senate, you are doing oversight out there, and President William Ruto at one point used the Senate as one of the areas where matters corruption had been witnessed. A governor who had come for grilling was being said to have maybe told to give some bribe. Are you looking forward also to the president saying these matters corruption, addressing them now in Parliament, where the members of Parliament are going to be there?
Yes, actually that matter was quite thorny to the Senate. And of course, we went ahead and said, look, substantiate and, give us evidence, of who has done that. It's a long story that, even if, we started and defended ourselves.
Yes.
But, again, Mheshimiwa said, the president said he's a consumer of raw intelligence. So he must have gotten, his own, intelligence. But otherwise, the expectation today is quite high.
Right.
Looking at Mheshimiwa talked about the education. But then looking at the same university students who are really crying for help in terms of help and the rest, we have the lecturers who have not been paid. We have an employment of the youth. The youth are actually stuck. And we have health workers who are there yesterday, they were all here. The CHPs and the rest, who are demanding for their pays for the last 17 months. So I think the expectations are high, and I'm really hoping that the president is going to address all this. Matters to do, of course, with Wananchi. The cost of living, again, is quite high. How do we help them? And I'm also saying it's not just about the president also, it's also about us as legislators. How do we help him? How do we create all these policies and the legislation that are going to make it easier for him to help Wananchi? So it's for all of us to assist and support.
Mheshimiwa Omboko, thank you very much for joining us. Matters education, Mheshimiwa Makali has mentioned, also Hamina, and it's a concern because we have seen what has happened. The lecturer strike took some almost 39 days. The school capitation again is a big issue. We are talking about JSS teachers now saying that in January they might go to the streets. The president has a lot to talk about matters education. So
education is an expectation from all Kenyans, from all teachers, and even from the parliamentarians, because we have to fix education. And some of the challenges that I am sure will be coming up would be the issue of the JSS. One, the JSS are determined that they must have their autonomy so that we have a third tier in the education system, whereby we have the primary, we have the JSS, and we have the secondary. That is a matter that's coming up, and I think he needs to talk to the Teacher Service Commission and the ministry to fix that, because we cannot just bury our heads in the sand. And then now there's the budget that is being expected for the 20,000 teachers who are on internship, and their internship is ending in December this year. And what's the way forward? They were expecting that they'll get P&P. So the president should talk about this. I know there's a budget line of about 7.2 billion for employment of another 24,000 interns, but then there's need to put these earlier ones, 20,000 P&P, before we move on. So that's an area that is very seriously mad. But the big question there, the biggest animal, is capitation. Because Mbadi himself pronounced that he's giving schools 16,900 instead of 22,200 per student.
Yes.
And that matter has not been resolved. The president must come out clearly to say that we are still supporting the day education, subsidizing it, and actually giving the free primary education.
Right.
Because that is dear to the hearts of the Kenyans.
Right.
Another area I think he should speak about is agriculture, because yes, we may have done well with the fertilizer. Remember, the fertilizer fixed the maize. But now what is the way forward with the other areas of agriculture, especially the export processing zones that were coming up? They seem to have stalled. So he needs to speak about that. How then explicit are we going there? But coming to Makali Mulu's area, the economics and the finance markets and the lending and the loans is another area, because we were faced with the big debt, and above all, the government had crowded the borrowing from the banks. And that's why the treasury bills had gone very high and the treasury bonds had gone very, very high. So is something being done now to free the monies to the private sector?
Right. Going with your statements, it seems there's much that is expected today. And talking about the direction that the country is headed, the opposition has been saying that the country is headed in the wrong direction. Will the president manage to convince Kenyans that this is the match that we have managed to do? Makali, Mheshimiwa.
Actually, that's the president and his team. That's a challenge they have as a team. You know why I'm saying that? Because when the president came to power, the Kenya Kwanza government, when they got to power, they did make a lot of promises based on their manifesto. And the question Kenyans are asking themselves is, we have done about 3 years of the regime power.
Yes.
The regime has in power for 3 years now. So the question is, with the remaining 1 year now of serious work, and the other year being a political year, are we likely to realize some of those promises? And I think it's really something Kenyans will be looking forward to, so that as the president makes his address, he will be telling Kenyans, this is what I plan to do now in the remaining 1 year of serious work to achieve my manifesto. Otherwise, the president is in a very, very precocious position, because where we are now, if Kenyans don't trust him, I can tell you for sure, the direction he's heading is not the right direction. But as is now the other side of the divide, and there's government in waiting, that would be what we would want to see, so that when we come to power...
And of course, today you have a State of the Nation address also from
from our other side.
We are going to be saying what the president has done.
We'll be saying what he has not done.
Of course, Mheshimiwa Amina, thank you. The issue to do with broad-based, part of what the president is set to address is matters to do with national cohesion and unity of the country. And he has said that broad-based government is something that has really enabled him to push the country forward. But again, there seems to be a split on the support for the broad-based and those who are opposed to this.
Very true. And this is a challenge that the president is going to face. We have to agree that now that Baba is not there, Baba, of course, was, the unifying factor. And he did all what he could, to put this team together. Definitely, whenever you have such a gap that, of course, cannot be filled. So this challenge, definitely, the president has to face, and especially now. And I think we are there as should I say ODM, since we are the broad-based.
The broad-based, yes.
Yes, we are injured.
Yes.
And so what we needed to do is lie low first and actually, look at, discuss, of course, forge the way forward. However...
And of course, the issue of re-election,
yes,
supporting broad-based, is
definitely
what is splitting ODM.
Yes, definitely. But I am sure it's going to pass. This storm, it's going to be bumpy, but I'm sure it's going to pass. And definitely will be one. We'll forge our way forward, and the unity will be there.
We're talking about unity, and the council, or the other Kenya Catholic bishops, have raised issues to do with the government having a listening ear to Kenyans, the public participation. Mheshimiwa Omboko Milemba, it is said that the government is not listening to Kenyans. So what the president is going to be talking about, will Kenyans really take it that this is exactly what is happening?
I think I liked Makali Mulu. You see, you must speak from your position and move your turf towards your direction. That's a very good legislator. So I think for me, the president will also be doing the opposite of what he said, to state what he has done. For instance, when he goes to agriculture, there I think he'll be quite successful because he has fixed the Gorogoro. That was our biggest problem when he began. But then, like I said, what about the export agriculture and what else in agriculture? On health, he will have to speak on SHA and how SHA is working, because it's working to some elements and some places it's not working. But as we were in the villages for the first time, we are able to see an old mama, like I had a child in Msire primary who got a payment of 69,000. For me, that was massive, because from the community where I come from, it's very difficult for government to pay for any such a poor person such amount of money. So that's one area where I will be speaking to. I'm sure I should speak about the economics and the finance markets and how he has relieved money to go to the private sector, because that's one area that has really been squeezed. Education will be difficult for him, but he still has successes because he has employed more than 100,000 teachers. This is massive, bro. And this has never happened since 1963. In fact, at the pace which we are moving, if we were doing the employment of 5,000 per year, would have taken 25 years to employ what he has employed. But there are challenges of capitation, which you'll have to speak to. So for me, the president must explain himself, say what he has done, plans that are underway to do what is remaining, and way to the future. Unity will be important, and I think the broad-based government was a magic thing. One person we must really respect is Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga was a statesperson. Without him coming out to support the broad-based government, I'm sure we would not be doing very well. the way we are now moving. So I think the president did very well to make a bold step to unite with Raila Amolo Odinga. What happens with the orphans of Raila Amolo Odinga now is another situation, and he has to now see how to fix it. Thank you.
And we'll see what will happen with the orphans. Let me bring in Hamida. Now, the affordable housing issue, I think is something that has really raised a lot of debate, a lot of discussion. There are those who still feel the affordable housing is not being handled the way it's supposed to be handled. From your point of view, what can we expect this afternoon about the affordable housing? Because it's something that we expect the president to talk about.
For me, actually, affordable housing is a good thing. It was a good concept. But then how it has been handled, it is really unfortunate. And we have seen maybe areas like Langata. We have Langata where the project has stalled. I think people have gone to court. You go to Pangani, the projects have stalled. You go to other areas. You go to Makongeni, I think there's some evictions going on and, people are not happy about it.
Right.
But at the same time, seriously looking at the Singapore, Singapore concept was a good one. I've been there and I've seen what they have done. But then, unfortunate, the implementation part of it could be a challenge. But I'm sure we'll get there. Let us be positive. For me, I am very positive on some of the issues.
Yes, there are bills, Mheshimiwa Makali, there are bills that have been brought to the House and passed and given to the President to be assent into law, and they have raised concern. You as a member of Parliament, and of course in the opposition, do you feel like the Parliament has been captured by the executive?
I think this is not the first time we are saying it. Even Kenyans are saying it. Kenyans are saying that Parliament has been captured. And because it has been captured, they have even legislated on some of the bills which don't add value to the lives of Kenyans. And a number of them have been quoted. And this has been confirmed also by our courts, saying this bill is unconstitutional. So I think what we need to do as Parliament is, it might be too late now. My own conclusion is that 13th Parliament, because I've served in 11th and 12th and now I'm in 13th. If I were to rank them, I would rank 13th the lowest in terms of performance, in terms of independence, and in terms of the way they conduct their business. But it's not lost. We still have one more year. I don't know what miracle will happen, but I can tell you for sure, Kenyans out there have given us our funding.
Yes.
We have been captured.
So before I move to Mheshimiwa Hamida, definitely if you are saying that you have underperformed, the president's speech, or rather the State of the Nation, that speech will be given to the two speakers of the houses. And you members of Parliament are expected to deliberate on it.
Yes.
So are you saying that it is going to be passed and, of course, agreed into what the president has just talked about, that I have done this and passed, that he has actually done it?
It is not a question of whether it will be passed.
It is going to be a yes.
It's actually a question of how many will oppose it,
yes,
because it will be passed. So it's a question of how many of us will have a chance.
It will be passed?
You don't have to ask. You are Kenyan and you live in this country. So what will happen is, it will be passed. The question is how many of us will have a chance to say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, you can take this to the bank. It will be passed.
Omboko seems to hint into that and say something different.
The history of Parliament is a very interesting one, and I like Honorable Makali Mulu. We look at Parliament, and this is the House. I want to thank the people of Mwaya for having brought me here.
Yes.
This is the House in 1963 and even before. And how was it being run? It was being run by the colonial masters. And they had actually, to an extent, had a bearing to it. But then come to Kenyatta's time, the Mbiu Koinanges. But let me pick from Moi's time, when we had the Unilateral Party. And the Parliament actually was just an appendix of the executive. It took Olo Aringo to bring what is called Parliamentary Service Commission.
Yes.
The minor independence you are seeing today to start being there. So parliaments over time must learn to stand very strong amidst a very strong force from the executive. After all, the executive and governance, people in government, when they go to seek for votes, Makali Mulu is the united opposition. He'll also be striving to get the majority in parliament. Could you look in my eyes? So once you get the majority in parliament, Possibly that's what is called in capture. Because once you have the majority, then you have your motions moving. And that's what I also see in the United States of America.
Yes.
But of course, Parliament must be independent, maintain its supremacy,
right,
and make the decisions that are for the people.
Yes,
so I think for me, we have to just stand our ground,
right,
and make sure that we are serving the people.
And Mheshimiwa Hamida seems to agree with you. Kule Senator Makali says it is going to be passed in the National Assembly, but that there is some opposition.
The majority are going to have their...
They are going to have their way. What do you expect in Senate, maybe, when the document is brought to the Senate, as we wrap up?
I'm sure there's going to be some debate, a lot of debate. Of course, we have like our SG, Senator Sifuna. We have Senator Ledama, you know, and the rest. We have the deputy, the deputy minority,
right,
who is also quite strong. And since he seems to, you know, of course, be in the same position with Mheshimiwa, that they are the opposition now. So definitely there's going to be some debate, but I'm sure at the end of the day, we are going to look at the pros and cons.
Right.
And of course, judge whatever it is. But then I agree with Mheshimiwa that even us as legislators, we need to do our work. You know, let us seriously, you know, I find at times that we really don't concentrate, you know, on what, you know, others. And at times, you know, you may find that the bills are passed and yet, you know, we don't even know what the bills are for.
Yes.
The other day we saw some bills being signed. But then did we really go through the bills and did we really know what it contained? So actually we need also as legislators put our foot down and get to understand our policies and exactly what we need to do.
Right. Mheshimiwa, in 30 seconds so that we wrap it up.
No, what has happened with the new constitution, the 2010 constitution, Parliament has been given more powers and more independence from the constitution. So what I would expect from my colleagues is that we legislate for posterity and the welfare of the society.
Right.
So that whatever is of public interest,
yes,
irrespective of your political alignment, you register on that because it's going to serve Kenya.
Thank you very much. I'm being told we are out of time. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Omboko, Member of Parliament Muhaya, Mheshimiwa Hamida Kibwana, nominated Senator, and Mheshimiwa Makali, Mheshimiwa from Kitui Central, Member of Parliament Kitui Central. Of course, we are going to be here following keenly on what will be happening. The speech by President William Ruto as he gives his third State of the Nation address, and also reactions from members of Parliament. And we'll keep the viewer updated. But for now, let me take it back to studio to you, Alea.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel Karaoke, there at the Parliament buildings, speaking to various members of Parliament. Of course, key issues coming out there from that conversation, issues on education, issues on the budget and employing of teachers, and various things that, of course, citizens are also waiting to hear and perhaps are hoping that the President, William Ruto, will address in his State of the Nation address later in the afternoon. Right now, I do want us to take a short break, and when we return, we take you across the counties and, of course, a conversation around the education sector to understand the key issues in this particular area of our country. Don't go too far. We'll be back shortly.